New, old. New, old. Ignore that. The labels are the same. Quality control passed my ass. You can see that this has changed. It is now smaller and versus height. Well, the height on the feet. There you go. Now we can compare heights. Finishes. Look at the finish difference. How dull the old one is, shiny the new one. The feet aren't a bad touch, except I like laying these down. They look ridiculous with the feet up. As far as from the front, same seams, but you could see two differences. There's a larger gap on the old one. This one's pretty much flush. And you could see the spacing difference. The new one has the grill pretty much covering the entire speaker, the old one doesn't. If we take off the covers, which I'm going to do one-handed, the actual construction of the covers is the same. It's just the mounting system. Don't break, please. Thank you. The new one uses pegs and these very ugly rubber inserts that get destroyed inside the first time you use them, versus hardened plastic inserts that you can't see the mounts because the pegs are so much, well, more robust isn't the word, but they certainly don't get as damaged. Alright, so here they are. New, old. Phillips screws, hex screws, all around. Solid rubber membrane, no breaks in it. This has four breaks, so it comes apart in 4 sections. The actual driver itself, I can't really visually tell you the difference. Obviously the rubber surround on the older one feels softer because I've been using it for 19 months. The tweeters look the same, they look real close. This bezel is slightly smaller than the new one. I mean, that's hard to judge. You can see that, if you can see that in the camera, flat spot on this little dome, and this is just a pure dome. There's no flat spot. So that's exterior changes. I mean, you can go with the box size being slightly bigger. Let's see if I can line it up. Yeah, that's how much wider the new one is. This side's perfectly lined up. So you're not going to be able to tell that from just looking at it. Your best bet is with the difference in screws, broken rubber, stupid little pegs instead of the little balls. And of course, the easiest thing is you don't have to take the cover off, is just to look at the back. Good, bad, new, old. Now let's look at the ones, let's see what's happened on the inside. Before I go yanking at its guts, I have a new I guess it's an instructional paper, specification paper, and an old one. My cousin still had his old one, and they're identical. Printed out, all the dimensions are the same, so I don't even update the dimensions, even though the dimensions have obviously changed. And let's pull these apart. Here is the new one. Here's the polyfill for the new one. I can quite grasp what that looks like. It's like that much. And it looks like it was torn out of a book. Looks like the scale of a giant. That thing from Neverending Story. That's what it looks like. It's not very good. Here's the one from the old one. Look at that. It's an actual square. And it actually has thickness. So I'd say they've halved the polyfill. And they've certainly not cut it out as nicely. And then if you look at the holes themselves, they obviously don't bother to clean up the vinyl that gets stuck under the drivers on the new ones, because I've taken apart a couple of the new ones and they're all like this. The old ones they did. Again, the vinyl has changed though. Shiny versus dull. I like the dull ones, I really do. Don't like these new shiny ones. On the insides, here is the original quote-unquote crossover layout of the Dayton, which is non-existent. You get 20 gauge wire straight to the 6.5 full range. I'm sorry, this one full range, and then the tweeter would get the cap down there, 103.3 microfarad, and fed here. And on the new one, they've gone straight in, and I've actually put these connectors on because I was testing things. These are just soldered onto the driver, and then these are soldered on to the here. That's what they look like. It's that sort of soldering job there. Actually, I added the hot glue on these two. So yeah, so they've gone daisy chain on the new one, and parallel runs on the old one. You can see the glue color has changed. Big wad of red snot versus a pretty controlled wad of green snot. These are technical terms, folks. I can't make these up. The bracing is a bit of a gap there with no glue. Plenty of glue on the bracing in the old one. There's overly done glue, which is a good thing. You want glue. As many things with glue is good. Here, they've really gone cheap on the glue. So, but the boxes, I've put the old drivers in the new box, and there's no sound difference. It's just a quality control thing. If you drop it, it might break apart, which is not good, but don't drop your speakers, damn it. And now let's get on to the actual drivers and see the difference in those, because that's the biggest problem. Here's the old tweeter. Here's the new tweeter. Getting onto the drivers. Old, new. New one's labeled TLYD 16612, 4 ohm 30 watt. White on the posts, leading to the voice coil. The rubber surround on the new one is actually better. You can see there's actual rubber on it, where the old one is literally a ring of complete fail. But these holes that sit below the suspension do not exist on the new one. So it's just, I don't know, they're hoping the air will escape somewhere else. The paint job, actually, the new one is duller, the old one is shinier. I don't think that's really affecting anything. The magnets are similarly sized and shaped. These holes are just not prevalent on the new one. I haven't weighed them. Wait a second. A height difference. Yes, there is a little baby height difference. I don't know what that means, but there you go. As far as the same to feel resistance, I mean, I've played them, I've soloed these, and I can't. It's too hard to tell them apart to say that there's something desperately wrong with one or the other. Here are the tweeters. Here is the difference between the tweeters. The new tweeter, I guess you'd call that a cone now, flat top cone guard. It's a flat top cone guard, and on the old one it is a perfect dome, which I like better just for aesthetics. It's actually a little bit taller, the old one. You can see that, and the plastic bezeling is thicker, probably twice as thick actually, but the overall dimensions are the same. You're also missing this little faded line that is, well, that's a rubber seal around it, and this doesn't have one. Whether you need one or not is entirely up to you, but I tend to use rubber seals on everything that's a hole. The magnet structure, you can see it sticks up about a 1/16 on the new one. I put these N's and O's, by the way. About a 1/16 of an inch there, about an 1/8 of an inch there, so the magnet's different, even though you still have the same exact design of square, trapezoid, square. They're in the same family. They just grew up and got terrible. They're also slightly shiny. I don't know if that's an age thing, that the old ones are not quite as shiny on the titanium tweeter part, but you can see this is a darker amber color and dull, where this is a very shiny titanium gleam. And these rings, these bezel rings that serve no purpose but aesthetics, are slightly different. The new one is slightly bigger. Grasping at straws, but those are the differences to tell them apart.